Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
Pretty good, Max. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. It's a nice Monday afternoon, and we got a couple bowls to recap from this weekend, I guess, Caden, to put it that way. Some college football action.
Yeah, we had the East-West Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl. I was more focused on the Senior Bowl, so that's more what I'll talk about.
Perfect. And then I'll hit on the Shrine Bowl because that's what I was on.
Perfect. So, yeah, starting with the Senior Bowl, a couple of players that I think really impressed and, helped their draft stock this week. And I don't have much people who disappointed. I have one that I really want to harp on.
Yeah.
We're going to start with the people I think impressed. We have Jack Beck, the receiver from TCU. I know, at least recently, drafting receivers from TCU has not been a good thing. Look at Jalen Reagor and Quentin Johnson, they just because you couldn't really see it, TCU, they just couldn't catch. You look though at Jack Beck, he's 6'2", 215, really good size for wide receiver.
Yep.
He was able to. He only had one drop in college his entire career. Then you see it this week at the Senior Bowl, whether it be throughout practices, he was making a bunch of contested catches, running good routes on the one-on-ones, and then even during the game, he made a great high point catch over there. I think this really improves his draft stock. It's someone that I could really see going into that easily day two. I can see him going more towards the upper half of that second round now. After what we've seen, he's got the height and the weight, and always what we've seen from his hands. I really think he could be a really good pickup for some team. Another one is a lot of people will probably heard of him. He's kind of been one of the stories of the Senior Bowl was Gray Zabel, the offensive lineman from North Dakota State, where he played tackle at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
He's 6'6", 304, so he's got the size. But throughout this week, they were lining him up at center, guard, and tackle, all throughout the individual portions. Correct. And you saw it no matter what position he was playing, he was not getting beat at all. Throughout all the one-on-ones, whether it be, you're going against, a lot of these high draft pick linebackers, SEC edge rushers, and you're over here from North Dakota State, and no matter, you play tackle there, they're putting you guard, center, whatever. You're snapping it, getting to your block, great. You're at guard. And even we saw when he was at center, there was this one play, left guard gets beat, he's right there picking him up.
Yep.
Really well.
Watch him
He looks like a true NFL-ready offensive lineman.
Caden, I'm glad you brought up offensive line because, boy, do we love some offensive line here in the Untouchaballs podcast. But like you said, versatility is one of the number one things scouts look at any position, right? They want wide receivers who line up outside, line up in the slot, could beat you deep, could beat you inside, could beat you with their feet, right? Same thing for offensive line. You want a guy who's smart, who could play all position, who can get his hand in the dirt, who can pull and smoke out the D end on, trap or counter, and like we saw at the Senior Bowl, lock down and pass pro with fundamental technique, hips back, underneath, controlled elbows. It's everything you want to see, and it's a very exciting prospect that definitely boosted his draft.
So. Yeah, I mean, the last dude I want to talk about who did really well in the Senior Bowl, where he was already a projected middle to late first round pick. I think he might have even gotten back. Mike Green from Marshall.
Oh, yeah.
Linebacker, edge rusher.
Yeah.
He is nasty.
He's
dude,
violent.
I see a lot of these mock drafts having him go to the Lions. Him and Hutch on opposite sides.
They're meant to play together. That's a nice combo.
But you see Mike Green, through all these one-on-ones with offensive linemen. Didn't matter who we were putting in front of him, just like we were just talking about Gray Zabel. He's running right through them, beating the lineman, getting to the quarterback, bull rushing these 6'6", 350-pound offensive linemen, and just sitting them down on their butts. He is prime for the NFL. Was already projected to be a first-round pick. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him go that upper half of the first round.
Oh, yeah, Caden. Especially when you look at, what is a game-changing type position. Mm-hmm. Edge rusher is a game-wrecking. You look at Myles Garrett. You look at T.J. Watt. These are players that help, Nick Bosa, propel you to Super Bowl. Chris Jones, help propel you to Super Bowls, Caden. And, it's exactly what you like to see from him during the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about more of the players I think hurt their draft stock. I mean, quarterback play, there wasn't anyone who really, improved their draft stock too much here. But one that I think hurt was Jalen Milroe. And a lot of it is because of his measurements.
Yeah.
We know his hand size is only 8 3/4 inch.
Yeah.
But we've seen it because he likes to sling the ball. he has one of the strongest arms in this entire draft class. It seems like now that we actually know the measure, that's probably why he's more of like one of the more inaccurate quarterbacks, especially on those deep passes. And he's also, his decision making throughout the season wasn't great, and he didn't do anything in the Senior Bowl. Didn't like show any good flashes or anything to help try to improve that draft. So like get him into like a day two, like a late third round or something pick. Now it seems like he's kind of more destined for that third day. And like the last receiver, last player I want to harp on that wasn't great. He runs good routes and he like finds ways to get open. But Tez Johnson for Oregon, he's only 165 pounds. He is.
Devonta Smith was only about 165 pounds, kid.
Let me get what his total weight was at the Senior Bowl, because he is the third lightest receiver to ever be invited to the Senior Bowl. At the Senior Bowl, there we go, 156 pounds when he stepped on the scale. The only people that have been lighter than him was Tutu Atwell and Calvin Austin.
That is rough.
Yeah, and that's a small size. Maybe some team will be able to find a way for him to excel in that slot, because that's obviously all he's really going to be able to do is in the slot. But at that size, it's just kind of going to be interesting to see how high teams are willing to take someone like Tez Johnson. Obviously, he has the route running, he has the hands. He's just a really small guy.
Yeah, Caden, for sure. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's definitely one of those things that they're going to look at the combine, potentially if he gets measurements there and stuff, and how much weight did he put on? Is he improving? Is he trying to put on muscle mass? All that's a factor. Now, kicking it off to the Shrine Bowl, which happened Thursday night. It was a very solid performance from the East, 122-0. I think the biggest thing that stood out for the people who watched the Shrine Bowl was the quarterback play, or should we say lack thereof. Shedeur Sanders was invited, but was told by GMs and scouts, not to play, not to participate. They got enough film on him. They know what they know, right? This is kind of more for players who may be a little more underknown to get a little more film out there and impress in front of scouts and GMs and visit with them, much like the Senior Bowl, Caden.
Oh, yeah.
Right? This is just for players to get their names out there and visit with scouts.
And we saw a lot of the more big-name quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl rather than the East-West Shrine Bowl.
Correct, 100%, Caden. But they struggled. That's one of the biggest reasons why, the West wasn't able to put up any points, is because there were ducks flying around. I will talk about specifically the three Colorado wide receivers who got invited out to the Shrine Bowl, with LeJontay Wester, Will Shepard, and Jimmy Horn Jr. Jimmy Horn Jr. was told not to participate in the game because the scouts had enough on him. They knew what they'd seen out of him, didn't need him to go. All right. Will Shepard played in the game notably, and he had a 20-yard catch where he went up and got out of the sky. Kind of what you've seen from him all season. We know Will Shepard's a jump ball kind of guy, and I don't know if this is a bad thing to say, but if I had a pro comparison, the person in my mind that really comes up to him is Courtland Sutton. Okay, a big guy whose specialty is making these crazy catches, but you'd like to see him to be able to evolve his game more, to be able to show a little more route running and be able to get that technical aspect down. And it's very interesting. And also, Shiloh Sanders had a lot of playing time for the Buffaloes. He had a PBU. He had a nice stop. He looked better than his rough week of practice. Let's just say that.
That is a fair way to put it, I'd say, yeah. Yeah,
so I think that's just what I wanted to touch on from the Colorado side. As you know, we've talked about Colorado and Texas mainly for this pod. And one more thing, kid, one more player. This is actually at the Senior Bowl that I've been a fan of since I saw him live in person, is running back R.J. Harvey. Yeah. He's really impressive out of the backfield with his hands, kid. And I think there's potential there for him to, go to the right team and the right scheme where he could be very, very dangerous. And dare I say real quick, that scheme is the Denver Broncos. Let me just put that out there.
I've seen a lot of like Bucky Irving comparisons with R.J. Harvey. Kind of smaller, little stout back, good in the receiving game, can find the open holes, and great hands, and has that really good burst of speed.
He's got great burst. That's exactly what I would describe him, Caden. Like I said, got to see him out in Orlando when the Buffs played this past when was that?
September.
Yep. And just an exciting player that I think definitely is starting to raise more eyes that I'm excited to see where he ends up in projections.
Yeah, I mean, getting on, obviously, because on Friday, you guys will see our Super Bowl episode. We'll preview that. Next Tuesday's episode will be recapping the Super Bowl. After that, our football pods will just be a lot of draft stuff.
Yeah, once we get closer to the
we'll
draft,
begin through, I think we'll probably go through like our top players at all these positions, quarterback, receiver, running back, obviously corners, DE ends, all that stuff. So we'll be really diving more into this draft stuff after the Super Bowl's over. Really excited as we get closer to the draft. While we get closer to that, we'll probably do a mock draft or two, like a couple weeks before the draft. To really get going with that. So yeah, like this video. If you guys enjoyed, subscribe to the channel. If you are new, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Share this with your friends, family, strangers, neighbors, anything like that. And check out our website at theuntouchaballs.wordpress.com.
Most definitely. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.